Good morning, class. So today we'll be discussing about biodiversity. Okay, I'll just share my screen. So biodiversity. Have you ever heard about biodiversity? Here in Coron, dapat na naririnig na tong biodiversity because uh, Palawan is very diverse when it comes to different lives. And so which do you like better? Just answer on yourself. Which do you like better? A or B? Yan, A or B? A or B? A or B? A or B? Hmm. Okay, so biodiversity, when you say bio, it means life. Okay, so how about the diversity? Diversity is the variety. It is the variety or the quality or state of being different. So being different from another organism. So its uniqueness. So wala siyang kapareha. Wala siyang kapareho. Yan ang variety. So unique siya. Being different or diverse. So biodiversity, you can already define what is biodiversity. It's the variety of life on Earth and the essential interdependence of all living things. So our biodiversity is we are interdependent and our organisms in uh, ecosystem is interdependent. Okay. Another definition, the variety of life in the world or in a particular habitat or ecosystem. So that is biodiversity. There are three components of biodiversity. First is the diversity of genes. What is this diversity of genes? Example of that is Chihuahua, beagles, and Rottweilers are all the same species. Diba? They are all the same na dog. But they're not the same because there is a variety of genes. There's a variety in their genes. So, iba yung genes ng Chihuahua, iba yung genes ng Beagle, iba yung genes ng Rottweiler. So, as the same sa ating mga tao, we are all tao tayo lahat. But then, you have different genes. You have different genes from your neighbors, from your friends. And so, the diversity of genes, another example of that is yung mga cats, mga, ayun, ang tawag dun, variety nila, yung mga different cats, diba? May mga ibang breeds, diba? So, they have different genes. Yeah. And can you cite an example of diversity of genes? Yung magkakaiba ang genes but the same yung species nila. Okay, next is the diversity of number of species. Example of that is monkeys, dragonflies, and meadow-beauties are all different species. So they are all different species in an area. And then yung number of species nila is different. So iba yung number ng monkey, yung population ng monkey, iba yung population niya, iba yung population ng golden skimmer, and then meadow beauty, iba din yung population na hindi sila, o kunyari yung monkey, 90 na monkey yung nasa area, and then another 90 golden skimmer yan area, and then 90 meadow beauty. So there are different number of species. So for example, sa Kalawit, sa Baswanga, the population of zebra and the population of giraffe is not the same. So with and also with turtles, monkeys, they have different population. That is the diversity of number of species. Hindi magkakaparehong number ng species sa area. Okay? Do you understand? Next is the variety of ecosystem. So we have already discussed, you already know what is an ecosystem. So yung ecosystem is nandun yung population, different population, community, and then including yung abiotic factors. Abiotic factors is the non-living things. So the variety of ecosystem. So there are different ecosystem here on Earth. An example of that is lakes, ponds, rivers, freshwater ecosystem. So the life in lakes is not the same in ponds. So may mga nabubuhay sa lakes na hindi nabubuhay sa ponds. May mga nabubuhay sa ponds na hindi nabubuhay sa rivers. Ganon din sa mga beaches, sa mga seas, sa mga oceans. May mga nabubuhay doon na hindi nabubuhay sa freshwater. So that is the variety of ecosystem. So different ecosystem. Makita nyo how rich our life dito sa Earth, di ba? Yan. So what's an ecosystem? So you all already know about that. Next is the importance of biodiversity. Let's take a look the importance of biodiversity. So, ecological life support. When you say ecological life support, it supports yung life ng other organism or tayo mga tao. It supports us. What do we get from our ecosystem? What do we get from our biodiversity? We get oxygen, food, and other essential things para mabuhay tayo. And then, so with animals, and then yung plants, diba? It supports life. So next is economic. When we say economic is the, what is an ecosystem? I mean, so economic is the profit of an government. Yan. So, okay. And so, economic, we get, diba, yung mga taxes from our biodiversity. Paano tayo kumukuha ng mga taxes or mga income sa biodiversity natin, di ba? We get benefit from our biodiversity. An example of that is yung tourism, di ba? Ano ba yung bakit may tourism? Because of different ecosystem sa kunyari dito sa Corona lang, di ba? You have a different ecosystem and we get profit from yan sa mga lakes, sa mga falls, diba? So that is the economic, we get profit from our biodiversity. Okay. Income from our diversity. Next is the recreation. Siyempre, we enjoy yung view ng lakes, mga falls, mga forest, diba? And next is cultural. So there is the preservation of cultures in an area. So there are different, there are areas in the Philippines wherein there's a certain, for example, lang sa Baguio, we have our festival, is the Panagbenga Festival, and we use different flowers in our festival. So, kung hindi na-preserve yung mga flowers, paano i-preserve din yung culture, diba? Yung festival na yun. So that is the cultural. So there's a preservation, biodiversity, preserve our culture. And scientific, syempre alam niyo na yung scientific na yan, di ba? Like example of that is experiments. Ano ba yung mga pinag-experimenta natin? Di ba? Yung so yun yung scientific. Another example of that scientific is yung mga cosmetics, di ba? We get cosmetics from our biodiversity. And then yung mga medicines natin, mga pharmaceuticals, yan. So that is how rich our environment. Lagi ang nakikinabang is sino? Tayo. We humans are always lagi yung nagbe-benefit. Yan. So next, there is the importance of biodiversity. So let's move on to the biodiversity conservation. So why do we conserve biodiversity? Bakit natin kailangan i-conserve ang mga different lives dito sa Earth, diba? So we need to conserve them. Yung mga alam kayong paraan how to conserve, and then please apply it on your self, on your daily life, kasi a simple act it is a big help sa ating ecosystem or sa ating biodiversity. So when you say when we conserve our biodiversity, we have food security, di ba? Kung makakonserve lang natin yung mga biodiversity natin, may anong food security yan? Example sa mga rice, di ba? Sa mga fields natin, when we support not only our farmers, pero yung we support yung farming or fishing, di ba? May food security tayo doon when may mga conversions ng mga rice fields into a subdivision, di ba? Nakikita niyo yung effect niya, di ba? So when we conserve our biodiversity, we have a food security. When we conserve our biodiversity is example of that is dito sa Palawan is the main livelihood also ng Palawan is fishing, di ba? So there are times na we don't fish, yung mga pusit, mga gano'n, diba? Yung mga time na hindi nyo pwedeng mag-fishing para may time din sila para mag-reproduce. So, that is a good thing. Okay. So, the food security. Next is vital for economic growth and poverty reduction. Siyempre, di ba? Kanina yung nakita natin the importance of biodiversity. So when we conserve our biodiversity, our different lives, is siyempre may economic growth, di ba? When we use effectively yung mga or properly yung mga ating resources is siyempre may economic growth, di ba? So yung poverty reduction also. So dito sa Coron is yung fishing, di ba? If yung poverty reduction is nakikita natin, nung nawala yung tourism dito, ano nangyari, di ba? You see how important talaga to conserve yung ating biodiversity. Yan. Next is help address the effects of climate change. Siyempre, climate change, ano bang pinag-uusapan natin pag climate change, di ba? Siyempre, pag na-conserve ang ating biodiversity is it help address our climate change. And next is scarce or contested natural resources are often the root of conflict. So, di ba, root of conflict talaga ang biodiversity natin. So, um, different LGUs is nagtatalo din sila para sa isang uh, resources, di ba? An example of that is Philippines and China, yung pinag-aawayan nila or yung pinag-aagawan nila is yung spratly, di ba? So, when we conserve or kung ang motive lang natin is pangalagaan, di ba? Is walang conflict. Pero pag yung angkin na, di ba? Yun na yung magkakaroon ng conflict. But sa atin, di ba? We need to, yung motive natin is to pangalagaan, to conserve our biodiversity, hindi yung abusuhin. Diba? We have benefit from our biodiversity. Tapos, ano yung gagawin natin? Aabusin natin. Diba? Yan. Next. Biodiversity has its intrinsic value. So, all life on Earth has value in and of itself. So, lagi niyong tatandaan yan. Everything has a value, especially you, students, and sa akin din, we have value. Yeah. So, what do we get from our biodiversity? Siyempre, alam na natin yan. Lang. So, what do we get from our biodiversity? Diba? Alam natin lahat yan. We saw the importance in ng conservation. Next is oxygen. Siyempre, oxygen. Diba? Food, clean water, medicine, aesthetics, and ideas. So, threats to biodiversity, habitat destruction, yung pagkasira ng kanilang mga habitat, pollution, example of that is air pollution, water pollution, land pollution, species introduction. When we say species introduction is pag nag-introduce ka ng isang species within an area, and especially kung yung in-introduce mo is mas malakas. An example of that is within an area, ang mga animals doon is mga herbivores, and then bigla kang nag-introduce ng carnivores, lion, mga ganyan. So, ano mangyayari? It's either yung mababawasan or mamamatay syempre yung mga herbivore kasi pwede siyang kainin ng lions. And so, your species introduction, global climate change, another threats of biodiversity, and the exploitation. What is exploitation, class? So, this is the using of resources. Pag inabuso natin yung overexploitation is a threat for the biodiversity. Okay, next is endangered versus threatened. So, threatened are the population low but extinction less imminent. And the endangered is the extinction is imminent. So, malapit na siyang maging extinct. When we say extinct is extinct is the disappearance of an entire species. Okay, that is extinct yung wala ng species, the entire species. So, an endangered species, a population of organism which is at risk of becoming extinct because it is either few in numbers, threatened by changing environmental or predation parameters, deforestation, or lack of food or water. Already explained what is extinct. And yung mga extinct species, dinosaurs, Galapagos turtle, tortoise, laughing owl. So these are the endangered species. All of this, along with hundreds of other currently endangered, ang mga species na papunta sa extinction. I will discuss causes of endangerment in another video. Okay. My next video is about yung kanina, yung causes of endangerment. And then at the end of that video, there is an activity which will be answering. Okay, that's all for today. Bye.